supportive way with the most up-to-date information. So my name is Matt Wallace. I serve as the Vice President of Education Career Pathways at Granite Edvance, and today I'm lucky to be joined by Mac Martin, who's the Director of Admission at Rivier University in Nashua. Mac, thanks so much for joining us, and we promise to keep this short and informative. And we also had that little technical difficulty to start, so I think we should just jump right into it. And love for you to take a moment to kind of introduce yourself, a little bit about your background, what brought you to New Hampshire, and then we'll go into some questions and conversation from there.
Yeah, perfect. So, hi everybody. My name is Mackenzie Martin. I just go by Mac. I am the director of undergraduate admissions over at Rivier University. Been here for almost 6 years, coming up next month, my six-year anniversary. Been here as a director for now 3 years. Um, Grew up in the southern New Hampshire area. Um, Stayed here after college, and then found a role here at Rivier. And now that kind of leads us to where we are today as a director of undergraduate admissions.
So I always like to kind of start these conversations with really high level, right? Just putting ourselves in the place of somebody who's learning about Riv for the first time. From your perspective, as somebody who leads the admissions efforts at Rivier, what makes Riv stand out, and what's the type of student that really flourishes there?
Yeah, so Rivier, so we have a lot of different types of majors. Um, so one thing that I like to tell students to do when they're going to school is to try to figure out, what you're interested in, and then what you can turn into a career. So at Rivier, we have a bunch of different avenues students can come into, and they can test out different majors, different classes. So maybe they're interested in business, but halfway through their first semester, they realize that they actually want to go with the biology route and the sciences. So having a lot of different options for our students to try and get used to college classes is definitely a benefit of Rivier. Another way that Rivier kind of stands out is our location. We are right over the Massachusetts border. If anybody doesn't really know where Nashua is, the Massachusetts state line is 5 miles south of campus. So our location is really everything. You can get down to Boston and Worcester for internships and jobs pretty quickly, but also you have access to the rest of New Hampshire, going up to, the Manchester area, the Seacoast, the mountains, what it might be. Um, Rivier, we like to a hands-on approach. So you're never going to be the only person in a class. You're going to have professors who get to know you as freshmen. Our Office of Career and Life Success will work with you freshman year on getting you prepared to apply for internships and jobs really early on in your time at Rivier.
Awesome. And I think, probably some of the people think about the time of year it is, right mid-July, who might be tuning into this is interested in that admissions process, right? We know that throughout, even just in our little ecosystem of New Hampshire, there's many different schools, many different processes. So love for you to kind of walk us through what a student should expect when they're going through the admissions process at Riv. Anything nuanced to your institution that they should be aware of?
Yeah, so I would kind of share two different processes. One, we follow, the early action one and early action two deadlines. Early action one being November 1st. And that process kind of follows the other schools as well in New Hampshire, where you apply, get that decision, and go through the admissions process. The other thing that Rivier offers is what we call the Rivier Early Acceptance Program, where students, once your junior year grades are finalized, so everybody here probably have their junior year grades finalized by now, can visit campus, and on the campus visit, go through a conversation with an admissions counselor so we get to know you a little bit better. Go through the campus tour, bring in your transcript, and then we can actually give you an admissions decision after your tour. With that, we do waive the essay and letter of recommendation component to the application. So the application is pretty short and quick. It's just, your basis information. And you get to leave campus that day with an admission decision. So it kind of gets you hopefully a little bit more relaxed going into senior year, right? You have an admissions decision, takes the stress off a little bit. And it gets you on campus and understanding what Riviera is, who we are, and exploring what we have to offer here in Nashville.
Awesome. That's a really innovative approach to admissions. I like to say we hear oftentimes how things can be really kind of complex for families moving through. So good on your team for kind of coming up with something to make it simple and early in the cycle, right? Common App doesn't open even for 15 more days, and the fact that you can help people take care of that is a huge win. I wonder if you can go a little deeper into early action one, early action two, and if those are the only ways to apply, or if you also have standard admission, and then what some of the benefits could be at those different timelines.
Yes, yeah. So we are rolling a mission. We accept applications throughout really the whole entire year, even into the summer. Um, Early action one, the benefits, like you asked Matt, really focus on just getting that decision sooner. To move through the processes, the steps that students and families need to complete. So, for instance, you can't be awarded financial aid until you get admitted. So by waiting to even apply, just slows down that process. Where if you can apply early action one, even early action two, you can receive financial aid in the winter. Now, as you get into the spring, you can get ready to really focus on attending events, making a decision, having those financial aid conversations. Um, Now, benefits of maybe waiting a little bit, the main one is if you're trying to, get some better grades, work on your GPA, wait for that first semester or maybe even first quarter to wrap up. Again, that is a benefit of waiting, but I always recommend applying early action one, get it out of the way, so then you're not stressed waiting for other pieces to fall in place throughout the spring.
Awesome. Thanks. And beyond grades and test scores, if that's applicable for Riv, I'd love for you to hone in on that. But what else is something that makes an application really jump out to you and your team who's doing the application review at Riv?
Yeah, so at Rivier, we're test optional. So we don't receive too many test scores, pretty much just the transcript. But when we're looking at kind of that student profile, what in the application, um, students that are successful here at Rivier are definitely hardworking individuals. Um, that's seen on their grades and on the transcript with their grades, but also outside the classroom. They're, joining clubs. They are playing sports. Maybe they have a part-time job. So it's those different things that you do in high school that then kind of lead to a great college experience here at Rivier. So yes, we want strong grades, just like every other school. But at the same time, if we see a student who is very active in the community, jobs, maybe even babysitting, um, community service, different things like that, so they understand that there's more to what they're doing every day than just the classroom. Um, Tend to be a student that transitions into Rivier and excels academically, but then excels outside the classroom, making that transition to on-campus jobs if they would need a job, or participating in clubs, internships, different things like that.
And when you talk about those outside of the classroom activities, how does Rivier in their review process look at things like working to help support family bills, taking care of grandparents or younger siblings, or those sorts of obligations as well? I just, from personal experience, I've heard several times from families that, oh, I haven't had the chance to get involved in student athletes or the student government. So I'm wondering how Rivier looks at that kind of life experience.
Yes, yeah. I mean that all those experiences are great experiences to grow, and that's really what we're looking at is everybody comes from a different background, different experiences. So what experiences does, applicant A have that will make them stand out and succeed at Rivier? So if it might be, taking care of grandparents, a lot of times we'll look at maybe the major, and what they're doing and how that has maybe affected what they can do during their high school time, but how that can make them a strong student at Riviera. We see that example a lot of times come up with nursing students. I'm taking care of my grandparents, found this
Mhm.
passion. Now I want to go into nursing, and that just makes sense. Um, So it kind of gives students, like I said earlier, the classroom is very important. We're focused on the grades, but also what you do outside the classroom to kind of stay busy.
Yeah.
And not just, sitting on the couch watching TV all the time, but either helping others, working with others, is what we're looking for in our students.
Awesome. That's really great to hear. Thanks for going a little deeper on that kind of life experience for me. So kind of shifting gears a little bit towards money, right? I'm going to level set so that when you get to the point where you're talking, you can really talk Riv. So I'll level set for everybody watching that to maximize your financial aid, you should be submitting the FAFSA, which is a free application for federal student aid. This has to be done every year you're enrolled in college, but it's how you unlock federal student loans, work study, any federal grant aid like Pellet eligibility. And just a shout out for some of our services at Granite Edvance. If you are starting to do the FAFSA, it feels intimidating. We offer free appointments both in our offices in Concord and virtually to help walk you through that. All right, now we've got that level set out of the way. Mac, tell us about what families need to know about scholarships, financial aid, affordability specific to RIV.
Yes. So when we're looking at financial aid at Rivier, the major piece that everybody talks about is the merit scholarship. That is our largest sum of financial aid a student will receive. That is really based off of your high school transcript. And the merit scholarship is what the student will receive for the merit scholarship for all 4 years they're enrolled at Rivier. Now, outside the merit scholarship, we have a lot of other financial aid pieces, um, which include some grants and scholarships, for instance, like our visit grant. So by visiting campus, at any point, you'll receive a $2,000 scholarship, which is renewable for all 4 years. Um, the REAP program, by participating in the REAP program, you'll receive a grant for just participating. Coming in to visit, you'll receive that $2,000 visit grant, but some other money as well. So a lot of what we have for financial aid is really having our students take that next step, right? They'll receive that merit scholarship, but what's a call to action to receive some more money? Visiting campus, you get the $2,000.
Mhm.
Outside of that, like Matt mentioned, you're going to want to file the FAFSA, and then from there, that can create some different awards that are given out through our financial aid office to help our students pay for their education. Um, in the past few years, right, we've had our Catholic scholarship. So any high school student that graduates from a Catholic high school will receive a grant, um, and just different pieces like that. So as we kind of finalize that financial aid plan for the fall of 2027, we'll still have that merit scholarship, which is the largest chunk of financial aid that all of our students receive.
And when does Riviera start rolling out financial aid packages? Typically, right? I know over the last few years, we've had some challenges with different timelines for the fast food being available, but assuming an October 1 rollout, um, I think it's helpful for families to know, like, I might get accepted now doing that visit program where you get accepted on the spot, but there will be a gap likely in when you get that financial aid package. Do you dive into that a little bit?
Yes, yeah. So, financial aid packages, and over the last few years, there's been some changes. So a lot of things have kind of been depend on the year. But the goal really is maybe early December or maybe the new year. And the reason for that is more so the holiday season. Um, we don't want to have confusion, maybe some stress for families over the holiday season while we're not in the office able to help answer your questions. So we're going to make sure that when we send those out, there's going to be support on the Riviera campus. So when you call and you have questions, you need somebody to explain the financial aid plan or the financial aid award letter. We're going to be here to help you out. Um, so over the past 2 years, we've really seen January sometimes and then early December. So this upcoming year will be right around that same time frame of probably January is what I would assume. But obviously the goal is always earlier to get that in your hands to have more time to make a decision.
And then once a student is enrolled, right, they go through the admissions process. They've decided Rivier is the university for them, right? Once somebody's enrolled, what kind of support does Rivier offer for wraparound services to make sure a student graduates, is successful academically, sets them up for their personal career and their uh, personal well-being?
Yes, yeah. So, first off, we have a two advisor model here at Rivier. So all students your freshman year will receive an academic advisor. Our academic advisor team is a team of six that will work with students all 4 years. They're there to help you register for classes, change in your schedule. Um, Also just a great person to go to if you have questions or maybe a little bit lost. If you have a question on financial aid, but you don't really know where to go, you can go to them and they will then point you in the right direction on where to go and be that support that you'll see in the classroom, but in the dining hall and all throughout campus. With that too, as students get into their more career focused classes, really sophomore year, they really dive into another academic advisor, which is specific to that program. So as you're going through, for example, let's say the biology program, you're going to have an academic advisor that works with all students, but then you're going to have a academic advisor who is a biology professor who can now guide you more so on the biology front if there's a industry or a career or a work path that you want to go down. On top of that as well, we do have our Office of Career and Life Success that works with all students from their freshman year on getting them ready for that first job. From polishing up resumes, teaching them how to write a resume, to working with students on that internship and maybe what career path they want to go into, or what they don't want to go into, which is just as important to find out. Um, Outside of that, um, we have a lot of different offices on campus, really under our student experience team that is here to make sure that our students are successful. Um, from our student government and our campus events, right? Part of college is getting outside the classroom and being involved on campus, even if that is joining a club, community service project, different things like that. The more involved students are, tends to directly correlate with their grades. The more involved you are on campus, usually the better the academic um, goes for our students.
Awesome. And I'm curious if there's a major program at Rivier that you feel like doesn't get the attention it deserves. I'm going to guess you don't say nursing because you guys get a lot of great publicity for nursing. But I'd love to hear what your personal take is. Like, this is our under the radar gem.
Yes. So, one program that's been growing for us, we launched it 3 years ago, is our applied exercise science program.
Mhm.
Really opens a door for students who are interested in athletic training, physical therapy, occupational therapy. But then since then, we've launched a handful of other programs, specifically computer science and AI, as well as a new program that we're really launching this year in forensic science. Now, on top of that, last winter we launched a degree in three. So we have four different programs where students can actually receive their degree in 3 years, saving them a year of tuition. And those programs fall under our AI, our business management, our elementary education, and our criminal justice. So students can either join the 4 year program in all those majors or the 3 year program. In those majors as well. So a lot of changes here at Rivier, where as we're kind of launching these programs, we're going to see them start to grow. So it's a great time to kind of join those programs and be part of really a growing major here at Rivier.
Awesome. And another question, kind of along those lines of hidden gems, but what is a misconception about Riviera that you'd like to kind of go on record to say, hey, some people view this, and I'd like to give you a little bit of counter information.
Yes. So, and Matt kind of said it in the previous question. Our largest major is nursing, but we are a lot more than just a nursing school. We have a lot of different majors that do go alongside with the health professions. I mentioned the applied exercise science, but in biology, we do have that pre-med, pre-vet, pre-dental um, pathway for our students. We have the athletic training PT, OT with the applied exercise science. But outside of that, we do have a very large computer science program as well, especially at the graduate level. So we're really trying to grow our undergraduate computer science program. And then our businesses have always been our second largest program in business management, sport management, marketing, and finance. So yes, there's a lot of news and a lot of media, like Matt said, about our nursing program, but we are a lot more than just nurses here at Rivier. Um, there's a lot of different avenues and interests that our students have, specifically in those other programs like the businesses, maybe the technology, computer sciences, and then the biology.
Awesome. And we've talked quite a bit about those students leaving high school, going right into college, right? What about an adult learner or somebody who's been away from school for a couple years, right? Or 20 years. Do you have pathways for those individuals? And if so, does that start through the admissions office, or is there another office on campus that handles adult learners?
Yeah, so that process will start through the admissions office. And the admission staff will work with those individuals to try to figure out what program they want and what they're really looking for. From there, we will really determine what avenue is best for that individual. So, for instance, my team for undergraduate admissions, we work with the students that are really going through classes during the day. But we have an associate's for nursing program. We have an accelerated bachelor's of science in nursing program. Um, and that's actually a different admissions team that works with those populations as well as our graduate school and our graduate students. So really at that point, we just try to figure out what avenue is best for that individual, and then that admissions team will work with them. So sometimes they do want to come in um, and take classes during the day through the bachelor's program. More than fine, we will work with them on that. But if they want something a little bit different, like our associates um, of nursing program, we can send them to our professional studies and our graduate admissions team.
Awesome. And I think I got one more question for you, and before we open up to question and answer. If someone's on the fence about trying to figure out if Riviere is the right fit for them, what's one piece of advice you would give that student?
Yeah, so my one piece of advice would be to talk to us. I think the admissions process, even just nationwide, has really just become so much. You apply, you receive the email, and you kind of just move through the process. Here at Riviere, we understand not everybody's going to have the same experience. Not everybody has the same wants and needs. So if there is something you want to know, don't be afraid to talk to us. The admission staff reaches out to students all the time. Um, and we will do really whatever we can to make you feel comfortable and that Riviera is a place for you. So if you want to come sit in on a class, all you have to do is ask, and we will put everything aside for the day to have you sit on two, three classes if you want to. If you want to come to an event on campus, we can open up those doors for you to go to that event on campus as well. So we know that the admissions process should look different for everybody because everybody has different needs and wants, and we will do our best to address every need and want any student and that student's family and support system may have. Um, so don't be afraid to ask. Let us know, talk to us, and then we will do what we need to do to make the experience great for you.
Awesome. That feels like a great spot to end on, Mac, unless you feel like there's something else you want to share about Riviere that I haven't asked any prompting questions, or feel like I wish I had gone a little deeper into something as we were chatting.
Yeah, no, I think that was perfect. Another piece of advice I always give everybody is go visit schools. Right? You're on the fence of Riviera. The easiest thing to do to kind of fall one way or another is come for a visit. By visiting schools, you get to meet students, faculty, staff, and usually by the end of a visit, families have a good idea if that's a school that they want to go to, especially like Rivier. So come visit us. We offer tours Monday through Friday, a little bit different times in the summer versus the school year. Um, but we're always here to meet with you and answer any questions that you have.
Awesome. Well, Mac, thanks so much for taking the time today to give us a real look inside Riviera. For anybody watching who wants to learn more, if you want to head over to Riviere's website, you can learn more about the programs, emissions, financial aid process. Mac, if you don't mind, would you drop your email in the chat for people watching if they want to connect with you directly afterwards? While you do that, I just want to remind everybody that this episode will be posted on the Granite Edvance website after we've had a bit of time for processing the episode on our end. So if you want to revisit it, share it with a colleagues, another student who might be thinking about Riviere, you'll be able to find it there in the coming weeks. And then just a reminder that College Conversations is this is a part of a series that we're going to do over the summer that will be airing conversations with admissions professionals from other colleges during the rest of July, August, and some probably in early September as we get the final few booked out. Um, Tomorrow we'll be talking with Jackie from Dartmouth College at the same time, so we'd love to have you join us. I am going to stop recording now and open it up for questions. So if anybody has any questions, we'll go off the recorded record right now.